All right, now to another story we are following. Dr. Fauci in the hot seat and challenged by Senator Rand Paul for double masking despite being vaccinated.
You're telling everybody to wear a mask, whether they've had an infection or a vaccine. If we're not spreading the infection, isn't it just theater?
No, it's
You've
not.
had the vaccine and you're wearing 2 masks. Isn't that theater?
No, that's not. Here we go again with the theater.
What proof is there that there are significant reinfections with hospitalizations and death from the variants? None in our country. Zero.
All right, so that was a Senate committee hearing, and Senator Rand Paul joins us this morning to talk about what exactly went down, what happened. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. So, Senator, tell us, set that up for the audience at home. What happened?
So, we've had 90 million vaccines in our country. About 40 to 50 million people have been vaccinated. We've got another 30 million people who have gotten the disease naturally, like I have. And the question is, do they have immunity? Well, we've always believed that. That's the science of vaccines, is that when you get an infection or you get the vaccination, you develop immunity. And yet he keeps moving the goalposts and saying, well, you might get this variant from South Africa. And my point to him is, show us the evidence. Show us the scientific evidence that people who have already had COVID or people who have already had the vaccine are getting it again. If they're getting it in large numbers and they're getting ill and going to the hospital and dying, we should know that. But it's not true. It's his conjecture. He says we might get it, therefore we need to wear the mask for another year.
Yeah.
This is equivalent of saying, well, we might get the Spanish flu, so maybe we should wear the mask until the Spanish flu comes back. It's a ridiculous notion, not based on science. And what he is doing is theater, and it goes against the science of vaccines. Dr. Fauci has immunity. He can't get it again, but he's wearing a mask because it's one of his noble lies to convince everybody to wear masks. But it's not true. If you've been vaccinated, you don't need to wear a mask.
So that's really your message, is once you're vaccinated, you don't need to wear a mask around other people who have also been vaccinated, which is a great sales pitch for everybody getting the shot.
Right, exactly. I'm not against the vaccine. I'm for people being vaccinated. In fact, that's how we're getting out of this. Both natural immunity, having had the infection, plus those being vaccinated is good. Once you are vaccinated and you're 2 weeks out from the second dose, you are safe. And there is no record so far of anybody being hospitalized or dying that's been vaccinated. There's also no record of people who've gotten it naturally being reinfected and being hospitalized or dying. So what we have is that it's very, very safe once you've had the vaccine, very, very safe once you've had the infection, and we should be getting that reward. In fact, it should be the incentive for people to go out and get vaccinated, is that you won't have to wear your. But Dr. Fauci gets this upside down. He's such a government worrywart that he says, well, you might get else someday. Well, we might get anything. We might get the Spanish flu again, but that's not the way science works. He needs to show us evidence as to why. It's incumbent upon him to prove to us that we need to wear a mask, not the other way around.
That's a great point, Senator. By what standard, on this same point, by what standard do you believe Dr. Fauci or others, as you put it, government worrywarts, would effectively say, take the mask off? What is that threshold other than what he's already said?
That's great, because I think it leads to the answer being never, because there's ultimately always something that could be around the corner. See, he's saying the South African variant might come. I'm saying to him, show me that the South African variant is infecting people, causing them to go to the hospital, and causing them to die in significant numbers. If it's a significant pathogen, I'll listen. But the thing is most of the thing we're finding out is the opposite, that the vaccine actually works on all the variants so far, and that there isn't massive death and rehospitalization from people who have been vaccinated. This is good news. Yeah. Instead of saying it might happen, he needs to show me a study, a scientific study showing that it is happening, because I'm not willing to wear a mask for the rest of my life for something that might happen unless you show me that it actually is happening. So the science, the proof should, and the burden of proof should be on theirs. They shouldn't just get to say, oh, wear a mask because Dr. Fauci likes wearing a mask. And the whole double mask is complete theater. There's no science saying that he can get reinfected. There are no studies showing reinfection after vaccine.
But just to be clear, you're talking, he was talking about after the vaccine. For people who have not had the vaccine and have not had COVID and don't have the immunities in their system, those people should wear a mask when they cannot social distance.
I think it depends on their risk factors. If they're a kid, the risk factor of getting this and dying from this is virtually zero. And so I'm not a big fan of having kids wear masks. I think it's to each his own. If you want to send your kid to a school that they say wear a mask, do it. If you want to send your kid to a private school where they don't wear a mask, I think that's also fine. I think the risk factors are things that individuals in a free society should decide for themselves. If you look at all the mask mandates throughout the country, when we instituted mask mandates, the incidence of the disease went up, particularly in December and January, as we went up exponentially. As the rise in infections occurred, everybody was wearing masks. So there's not a great deal of evidence that mask mandates or economic lockdowns have changed the trajectory. The only thing that's changing the trajectory is the vaccine. So that's why I don't think people should be tricked into thinking the mask is the answer. The vaccine actually is the answer, but the mask really isn't an answer. We've had rampant infection with everybody wearing masks. Most people getting the infection say they've been wearing the mask. The cloth masks don't really work at all.
Yep.
And so the 5 masks have been shown to work in hospital settings, but none of the masks have really been proven to work in the public.
How do you think this is going to play out, let's say, in a few more months? Because right now, no one's hugging. People are socially distanced. You're wearing the mask. People are staying in their own space. You think we'll remain like that as a country, or will we go back to the way it was?
Ultimately, the government bureaucrats like Fauci will lose. People are already pushing back. I mean, look, President Biden saying on July 4th, you can get together with 3 people. People are already doing what they want. It's a free country, and they're going to get tired of these people. Look, I meet people all the time in their 70s that have been vaccinated. There's a twinkle back in their eye. They're going to restaurants, wearing their mask. They really don't care what President Biden or Fauci or any of these so-called people are saying. They feel safe after the vaccine, and I think they should.
Right.
That's what the science. And if the science says you're safe after the vaccine, what a terrible selling message. If that's true, they can go ahead and try to say that. But they're trying to tell you the vaccine is safe and working, and yet you still have to wear a mask. That's a contradictory proposition.
Senator, while we got you here.